to another fire episode of Under the Influence.
That's right.
Where we go deeper into relevant topics and certain areas taught by our man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel, that maybe you won't hear anywhere else.
That's right.
My name is Director Tazo, International Field Director for the Rebels for Christ Youth Ministry and for Campus Cry. And I'm joined by my brother again.
Good news to you. My name is Trance and welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you, man. Good to have you. You know,
It's good.
on this platform, it's a platform that we thank our man of God for. Our man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel, because without him, we would not be here. And also the gems that we're even discussing.
That's right.
We would not be able to discuss them. Of course, today's gem, it's a very, very juicy one.
It is.
It's a juicy gem.
Let's go.
And the reason why I say it's a juicy gem is because it's based off of a question that we've asked you as the audience to send in during the week. And of course, we've selected this particular question because we feel it's something that a lot of young people, men and women, male and female, can relate to and are probably suffering with right to this day.
Exactly.
So we'll go straight into it, all right? So the question is, I'm struggling with masturbation and pornography. How do I stop?
Oof. Do you know what's crazy? Before we even start, the most, if you actually see, right, that there are two particular industries
Yeah.
that are actually controlling people today.
Okay.
The first one,
Yeah.
fortune telling, and the second one, pornography.
Pornography. Okay.
And if you look at the numbers, fortune telling makes about 4 billion
Wow.
per year.
Crazy.
Fortune telling,
Oh, wait, hold on. So somebody's out there doing the tarot card reading,
all of that,
all of that. Oh, read my palms, all
read the
this psychic
palm, everything.
and that industry is worth 4 billion.
4 billion.
Crazy.
Like these guys are actually diluting people
That's mad.
with nonsense, and people pay for it.
That's crazy.
They actually like, read my palm. I think this little line here means this. I'm meant to be a superstar.
Yeah.
You know how crazy that is? 4 billion. And then the second one, very shocking. But to be fair, it shouldn't be too shocking. Pornography makes about 100 billion per
100
year.
billion.
100 billion per year. And it results to about 25% of online searches.
That's crazy.
Pornography.
That's
25%. So we're talking, even if you're doing your assignments and you're doing all these references and so forth, listen, that educational side is lower than the pornography side.
That's crazy.
25%.
A quarter of all searches
All searches.
is pornography.
Pornography.
That's crazy. And for me personally, based off what I've learned from Prophet Uebert Angel, it's crazy because one thing that he always says is that if you want to understand something specifically, if we want to understand why is 25% of the searches to do with pornography, why is the industry of pornography worth so much? 100 billion.
100 billion.
Imagine you're actually spending your time, hopefully not you, all right? Not you. Not anybody out there. Somebody's spending their time watching pornography.
Yeah.
Not making $1, not making a pound, a cent. And this industry is worth 100 billion.
100 billion.
So, one thing that I've learned is that in order to understand why something is, you have to go to the origin of it.
Exactly.
All right. So if we break down even the word pornography, all right, the word pornography, it's two words. So half of it is porne, which is Greek, which means prostitution.
Okay.
Right? And then graphe, which is, it means to write.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we put it together, prostitution to write, that simply means that pornography is the writings of prostitutes.
Ooh.
When you deep that,
Ooh.
for what it is, writings of prostitutes. That's when you're like, am I actually sitting here watching the writings of prostitutes? Like, you know what I mean?
It's a script, and they're writing down and then now they're acting it.
The content.
The content.
And even like in the health world, of course, everybody's heard the phrase, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
All right. And when you consume content, you're eating that content. All right? So imagine you're consuming the writings of a prostitute. You're saying you are what you eat.
You know, growing up, people used to say, not everyone
Yeah.
is pure.
Yeah.
No, not everyone is a virgin. Not everyone did it. Yeah. Why? Because everyone, or whoever that person was talking about, was clearly inducing, like obviously taking in things of a prostitute. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So to them, everyone was a prostitute.
Everybody was, exactly. And it's,
do you know what I mean? Yeah.
To a thief, everybody's a thief.
Exactly.
Crazy. And you know, when we go into the Bible, in fact, let's go straight into the scriptures.
Yeah.
So let's open our Bibles to Judges 2, verse 13. All right. Judges 2, verse 13. And we're going to go deeper. All right. So those of you watching online, make sure that you've got a pen, paper, iPad, whatever.
That's it.
Write notes, whatever.
That's it.
All right. Judges 2, verse 13. And it reads, and they forsook the Lord. They forsake the Lord and served Baal and Ashtaroth. All right. Now, the part of that verse that we want to take a look at is that word Ashtaroth, or that name Ashtaroth. All right. Ashtaroth is a Mesopotamian goddess.
Yeah.
And that goddess, or Canaanite goddess. All right. So, and just for context, when the Israelites were crossing over, right, during the Exodus, the land of Canaan had people in there already. All right. They had tribes in there already. And those tribes worshipped pagan gods.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They already had their gods. That's why you see God is giving these commandments and these rules and these laws to the Israelites, saying, do this, because I am your God.
Yeah.
He's saying, listen, where you're about to go,
Yeah.
there's people with a certain tradition,
Yeah.
there's people with certain gods.
Yeah.
Don't follow that.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, I am your God.
Yeah.
So these are the steps, these are the things that you need to do so that you are away from these guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that word Ashtaroth, or that name Ashtaroth, is the goddess Ashtaroth, all right? Or Ishtar. And that goddess is responsible for fertility and sexuality. All right. And here's this, right? Watch this bombshell, right? So that same goddess in Egyptian mythology or whatever, that Egyptian goddess is the equivalent of Isis. And guess who has a tattoo of Isis on her chest?
Oh,
Rihanna.
Damn.
You think that's a coincidence?
Damn.
That can't be a coincidence. Why not a tattoo of, I don't know, even an eye?
Yeah, or a penguin or something.
Exactly, or a penguin. Why the goddess of fertility, the goddess of beauty, the goddess of sexuality, right? And even with that, we can see the agenda of the enemy, the devil, in the world. That's the agenda.
Yeah.
Sexual immorality. Everywhere. It's rampant. And if you look at pornography itself, it's a perversion. You see, the thing about the devil is tricky, right? Our man of God once said that the devil's whole idea, or the devil's whole agenda is simple. It's just to simply pervert the things that God has put into place. All right. So when you take a look at things like witchcraft, right? People think that witchcraft, and this blew my mind when I learned. People think that witchcraft is its own separate thing. And then, Christianity is its own separate
thing.
But the truth is, witchcraft copied the principles of the Bible.
Yeah, that's it.
You even take a look at stuff like the law of attraction, right? Whatever you say will be. All right. That's in the Bible, bro.
That's
you
true.
see in Genesis, God spoke and it was
me.
Boom.
Exactly.
So these are biblical principles, and the devil is smart. He's cunning. He just simply wants to pervert them and make them into his own little perverted thing. So that's what we see with pornography.
Yeah, of course.
It's perverted sex.
Is anything that the devil puts his hand on, his plan is to pervert it.
Exactly. And one key thing that a lot of people worldwide, Christians and non-Christians, they don't understand is, or they mistake the fact that the devil can't make you sin.
No.
The devil can't make you do anything. He can't make you smoke. He can't make you drink. He can't make you watch porn. He can't make you do anything. He can't make you do any sin that you can think of.
Exactly.
He has no power to do that.
No.
All right. And we'll go straight into the word in terms of that. If we go to the book of James 1 verse 13 to 15. James 1 verse 13 to 15. And it reads, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. Verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Verse 15. Then when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So you see, the key part of that verse is verse 14. All right. It says, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. So the Bible is telling us that, listen, the devil is not the one that's making you sin.
Exactly.
It's your own fleshly desires, your own lust. And the thing about the world that we live in today, right? We live in a generation that's most advantaged.
Yes.
Right? But at the same time, most disadvantaged. Because as much as we have the advantages of technology and everything at our disposal, that same technology or that same access to technology can be somebody's downfall. Exactly. Because of the stuff that they're seeing.
Exactly. You can see even like now with social media.
Yeah.
Like social media is, boy, it's something else.
It's a wild west.
It's a wild west. I have to say, it's a wild west. Because you see, like what happens is whatever you're now consuming with your eyes, right? So, like, for example, let's say your Instagram, and you'll hit the popular page, and you're scrolling, you're seeing certain pictures, and certain pictures, and these pictures lead you to certain pages in Instagram, and those now you spend hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, watching these certain pictures. Do you know what I mean? Watching these certain pictures, and then the main goal is that desire to build up. To build up, be like, nah. It's not doing it.
It's an inward battle.
It's not enough. Let me go to another social media. Now you've jumped into, let's say, another social media which the content is not as restrictive. Let's say Twitter, right? And you go there, now you're even searching even more. Even more. It leads you, then it will completely lead you to watching full-blown pornography. So it was actually your own eyes that just looking at a certain thing and then start scrolling. Exactly. Like saying that the devil doesn't make you. He just puts it out there and be like, tells that model, do that.
And you see, one key thing that Prophet once mentioned, he said that what he does is it's like he dangles it in front of your face. Right?
Yeah.
Because he knows you.
Yeah.
One thing about demons and the devil is that they have one up on you. And that thing is experience. They've been around for years. To know and study even your great-grandfather. To a point where now they've studied you and been like, okay, he has a tendency to, to like women and do this and do this. Okay, let's
dangle fair women. And some lighties. It does say in the Bible that, it speaks of Abraham fair women. Isaac liked fair women.
So he liked the lighties.
He liked the lighties. So he like Abraham, lighties. So you dangle lighties on your Instagram page. On your explore page. Do you know what I mean? Even on your TikTok. Like TikTok is crazy. It's another wild west.
I remember one time, there was this brother that I was speaking to. I won't say his name.
He's probably watching.
But he came to me and he's like, listen, director, I need your help. Every time I'm going on social media, on Instagram, I go on my explore page and I'm just seeing cheeks. I'm just seeing this. I'm just seeing this. And I'm like, brother, it's because the algorithm knows what you like. The algorithm, you've clicked on it once. That one time is just enough. And then Instagram's like, feed them this, feed them that, feed them. And that's the dangers, you see. Because the more you do that, even if it's just like that one time, that's all the algorithm needs. And then now, because you've done it, it's sensing or reading and analyzing your social media habits. And then it's giving you more of that. Now, the more of that you're seeing, the more now that desire kind of builds up. And then you're wondering, why is it that when it's midnight and I'm in bed, porn. Why is it that, I'm on these pages, of these influencers showing skin or showing body or this, that. It's because you've allowed yourself to be exposed to all this content and it's built up in your subconscious to a point where now that lustful desire is drawing you to either to fornicate or to watch porn or do all these things. So that's the tricky technology that the devil's using.
Yeah.
Just dangling that thing right in front of your face.
And then people will be there like this lady I used to work with a long time ago.
Yeah.
She's like, she knew that I went to Spirit Embassy, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, she just called me man of God. Man of God, can you please pray for me? I was like, what's up?
Yeah.
She's like, I have dreams.
Yeah.
There's something that comes and wants to sleep with me. Our man of God spoke about saying, look, and she said, I think it's a spiritual husband, right?
Yeah.
So obviously from Prophet's teachings, he talks about how there's no such thing as spiritual husband. You're just watching a whole lot of porn.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's watching a whole lot of porn and it's now gone into your subconscious mind.
Exactly.
And now you're having dreams.
Replaying dreams,
the exact same thing. Do you know what I mean? So replaying the exact same thing. So I was just told her, look, I think, just be watchful of the things that you watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And from there, she's like, I'm not having these things anymore.
The correlation.
But
that's crazy because it goes to show like the correlation of the content you consume and your mind and how the relationship between the two. One key thing that is crazy to me is the fact that the effect that social media has, when you're scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, the effect that has on you in terms of how it spikes your dopamine levels is actually the same as if you take a hit of cocaine. Oh, like facts, statistically. All right. Wow. Scrolling on Instagram, the same, or getting likes, rather. Getting likes. Let's say you post something and you're getting a rush of likes. All right. That same spike of dopamine you get from that
is the same as
if you took
cocaine.
And even dopamine itself, I studied psychology when I was at uni, psychology with business.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you study is the neuropsychology.
Yeah.
All right. So the brain science and everything. And dopamine itself is, in layman's terms, is like a chemical messenger.
Okay.
All right. It sends, let's say, for example, let's say, for example, you hit the gym. Yeah. All right. And maybe you do a workout. All right. As soon as you're finished, you look in the mirror, you're seeing yourself there. You feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
The dopamine.
That's going up.
Has gone up. Right? So it's the same thing. So with watching porn or getting pleasurable experiences, you see, watching porn, it spikes your dopamine, but it spikes it through it being an artificial stimuli. All right. So you're watching porn. Let's say you're watching, please, not you. All right. Let's say somebody's watching porn. In that moment, they're watching porn. They're engaging in the porn, right?
Yeah.
And now their dopamine levels has spiked up. But the funny thing or the tricky thing about dopamine and its impact on the mind is that the more it spikes or the more that you do it, the more you watch porn, right?
Yeah.
The level of dopamine receptors in your brain
starts going
reduce. They die. In other words, your brain becomes fried. All right. So that's why you see in addiction or people that are addicted to even like things like crack, heroin, all right? That first, and this is something that I actually heard from people, giving their testimonies and their experiences.
Yeah.
The first time they ever try heroin or crack, after that, they want that same hit or that same feeling of euphoria. But then every single time you try it after that, you never feel exactly how you felt the first time. So you're chasing that high. And the reason why is because those dopamine receptors have now reduced. So now the sensitivity to that stimuli has reduced. So you've built tolerance. And that's why it's so easy to become addicted because you're chasing after that dopamine spike.
And there's I mean, on the same topic you're talking about, there's people who have testified on how they'll watch pornography, right? And that excitement of I'm going to choose this video or whatever, And then the calm down is crazy.
Yeah.
They feel ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They feel disgusted of themselves. And if you look at what you're talking about crack and heroin, the crack users, obviously they get the up because crack is cocaine in smokable form. They get the up. Then the down is so bad they need the heroin because the heroin it mellows them down.
I heard that.
It mellows them down. So imagine now you're watching porn, your up is up, your calm down. There's no other thing helping you out. So you're now, even your day is now, you feel a bit more depressed throughout the day. You feel more guilty.
You know what's crazy? It actually affects memory as well. Memory. That's crazy. So, like what you're saying, like it makes you more, it will make you more depressed.
Yeah.
Even self-confidence. I remember one time there was this young guy years ago, and he was asking me advice. Oh, director, like how can I approach girls? Like how can I speak to girls?
Yeah.
Because like I feel like I'm too nervous around them. And I said to him two things because I already knew.
Yeah.
Based off what I learned from Prophet, I already knew.
Yeah.
Two things. One, he's putting females on a pedestal.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
My brothers out there. Females are just like you and I. All right. Of course, different, but they're still human.
Exactly.
All right. There's no need to put them on a pedestal.
Come on.
That's number one. Number two, the reason why you're putting them on a pedestal is because in your brain you're seeing them as a sex object.
Ooh.
Boom.
Ooh.
You're putting sex on a pedestal as well.
Ooh.
And the reason why you're doing that is
Ooh.
because you're watching porn.
Ooh.
You're consuming porn.
Ooh.
So you're consuming porn so much to a point where now it's affecting your self-esteem. Remember we mentioned about dopamine, right?
Yeah.
Now, in line with what you mentioned there, of course, let's say over time you've built tolerance, all right? So now it takes a higher level or higher intensity of porn to get you going, all right? Now, watch this. When my man of God taught me this, it blew my mind, all right? He said that if you look at the states in the United States, right? If you look at certain areas or a lot, or let's say 95% of the areas or 95% of the serial killers, the top 60 most gruesome and most heinous serial killers, right, ever, a lot of them are porn addicts.
Jeez.
95%.
Jeez.
That's one.
What?
The next statistic, this. In most of the states whereby there are these serial killers or higher crime rates, these are the areas that sell the most pornographic material. All right?
You can't make this up,
You can't. Numbers don't lie. People lie. Women lie.
But numbers on that.
Friends will lie, but numbers won't lie. And on top of that, listen to this. On top of that, let's say you have built that tolerance again, and you need a higher level of intensity of porn. That's now when people deviate to more crazy things. And they now go into deeper tastes.
Taste.
All right? Crazy tastes. That's now when you get people that are, into pedophilia, homosexuality. Because now the usual things, because of your dopamine tolerance, the usual things aren't doing it for you. So now you're looking for the next thing. Okay, do this. Then now you're watching crazy things. All right? Then now you're killing. This is how the serial killers come about. Damn. Because now in that act, in the physical, they experience a woman for in real life. And maybe now because they've watched so much porn over years and they've built that tolerance of dopamine, now that woman physically isn't doing anything.
Not doing nothing.
So then either that, whether it's marriage, it falls apart, or that guy ends up doing crazy things physically and kills the woman. Damn. Because he's going after that dopamine rush. Damn. And that's the reality.
Damn.
It's crazy.
That's crazy,
Crazy.
That's crazy. Because there was a time where one young man came to me and was like, oh, brother, it's so amazing that you're married and you guys are doing your thing. Me, I just can't decide. I just can't seem to
options,
choose.
yeah? Options. There was options.
I just can't seem to decide the right woman, the right one, you know. And really and truly, started just talking to him. I'm like, look, I wasn't saying to him. I was like, the reason why most young men, or even most, obviously the young men are the ones who do the choosing, right? Most young men find it so hard to choose a wife is because they're watching too much porn. You're on your thing. You're like, today, it's like a menu. Today, I want a Brazilian. Tomorrow, I don't know. Let me go European. So now, when it comes to now choosing a wife,
that makes sense.
It makes it hard because this particular thing has made you indecisive. You are unable to actually make a decision in life, even with anything. You're actually unable to make decisions in life.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, hopefully you took that on board.
Well, that's crazy because it now makes sense. Like whenever you're seeing like people that are going into things like blow up dolls and all this stuff, makes sense now because they're used to customized things. So then now they're doing all that, and that's crazy.
There was a guy who I think it was in Japan, right? He's in love with a robot, like an actual robot. He's in love with it, right? And that is where pornography will take you. It will take you from watching crazy stuff to watching now bestiality to now be in love with robots and AI and all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy.
And even on top of that, right? It goes back to what the Bible says, where it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
That's right.
Right. If we're saying that there's a strong congruence or relationship between pornography and the mind, how do we overcome it? How does somebody overcome an addiction or a habit of watching porn? Simple. You transform your mind. Remember, we mentioned about, the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
All right. In psychology, there's a theory called the psychoanalytical theory, and it divides the mind up into 3 sections. So there's the unconscious, subconscious, and the conscious. All right. So the information that you take in without even realizing that you've taken it in, but every single thing that you consciously take in, it goes into where? Your unconscious mind. All right. So unconscious is the deepest level. That's where everything is stored. All right. And that's the most influential thing that influences your behaviors.
Yeah.
So if you're realizing you have low self-esteem, there's something in your unconscious mind that's making you feel or operate in a behavior that has a low self-esteem. All right. So if we're saying the Bible saying in Romans 12 verse 2, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
It means wash out what you have stored in your unconscious mind. All right. Replace it with what?
The word.
The word.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
And with the word being resident in your unconscious mind, it'll seep to the subconscious, into the conscious, and that's how now it's influencing your behaviors. So for those that are out there, all right, we don't necessarily always say to people, listen, if you're addicted to porn or if you have a habit of watching porn, we won't tell you focus on changing that or stopping that. Because Jesus himself isn't in the business of changing actions.
Yeah.
He's in the business of changing hearts.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So how do we change the heart? There's a practical way around it as well. Of course, the scriptures tell us, don't be conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind through the word. But there's also a practical way. And there's 3 stages of overcoming habits. All right. Number 1 is the cue. So what triggers the behavior?
That's right.
All right. So you mentioned social media.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's say something triggers.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, the behavior itself. All right. Let's say social media triggers the behavior is you watching porn.
Yeah.
All right. Then number 3 is you repeating that habit. All right.
Yeah.
So how we influence or change that habit is to interject at stage 2, which is the behavior.
Yeah.
So let's say you are triggered to watch porn, but now does that mean you execute the behavior?
No.
You immediately intercept that stage 2.
That's right.
And the best way to overcome a habit is to replace the habit. All right. So that stage 2, that behavioral stage there, you replace it with something else.
Yeah.
Maybe going to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe drawing if you're into art.
Yeah.
Painting. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then you lead into stage 3 now, because once you've interjected that stage 2, every single time that you get triggered,
You replace with something else.
you replace with something else. And the more you do that habit, now the habit is or a new habit is formed, and then you've overcome it.
Yeah.
All right.
Because, an idle mind is a playground for the devil.
The devil, exactly.
So whenever you're idle, when it always comes, funny enough, when you're watching pornography, for those people, not yourselves, but the people you know about, right? They're the most bored people. They have nothing to do in life.
Yeah.
Do you know? And their minds are idle. They're not occupying their minds with the right things. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's 3 stages. So number 1, cue. Number 2, the behavior. And number 3, the reward of that behavior. Once we interject at stage 2, replace that behavior, we now will have the reward system, or a new reward system based off a new habit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are out there that may be relating to this question of how to overcome pornography or masturbation, understand that one thing. And even the topic of masturbation, as we close, the topic of masturbation itself, a lot of people also ask, okay, there's watching porn, but then there's masturbation. Those are two
different
separate things.
Yeah.
But now, when we take a look at things like love, all right, our man of God once mentioned, love. If you take a look at the scripture of John 3 verse 16, it says, "For God so loved the world, he what?
Gave.
He gave." So that means that love, real love, gives. If we take a look at what masturbation is, masturbation doesn't give anything. It's self-gratification. So that means you're actually taking, all right? And love without giving is lust. So in other words, masturbation is just simply a manifestation of
lust.
Lust.
Yeah.
That's it. So of course we can sit here and we can say, listen, the devil isn't making you sin. But at the same time, you are still responsible for what content that you're feeding yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
1. Also 2, are you walking in love? Remember, the Bible says that our hearts are marinated in love. So if we're saying we're Christians, why should we be doing things that are manifestations of what's the opposite of love?
Exactly.
We should be doing things that are manifestations
Of love.
Love.
That's right.
So I hope, brother, that answers your question, and anybody else out there that has that same question or that same dilemma. And of course, we honor and thank our man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel.
That's right.
Because without the things that he's taught us on this, even this whole message, this whole thing on what we know about pornography is based off a message of our man of God, called The Rise or the Arrival of the Teraphim. All right, it's on YouTube. Go watch that in depth and get a deeper understanding of what we've talked about here today. But of course, we're not out of good news. We're just out of time.
That's right.
And we will see you again on our next episode of Under the Influence.